Hello everybody, I'm back. Woo! And we are gonna work on triangles today. How are you all? I'm so excited about today's program because I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite pieces to work with when making a quilt. We're going to be working on triangles. And as you can see, the quilt behind me, my triangularity pattern, is made up of all triangles, but you also have the illusion of the larger triangles too, created in the black. But to create this quilt and a lot of other quilts that you make with triangles like stack and whack quilts, there are some little fine-tuning things that you can do to make your piecing a little more accurate, a little more fun, and just give it a little more precision throughout, so you end up with a really nice finished product. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So if you are here to learn about that, please share this with your other quilting friends. Share the link and invite them in to come watch to see what I have in store today. And I am going to be looking back at some of the questions. If you have any questions later, I'll be looking back at those, but I'm going to give you a nice overhead shot of what I'm going to be talking about. And I just hope you enjoy it. It's kind of cool to see somebody else's techniques and tips that might help you along. So let's kind of get started. First, I do want to show you, I'm going to be using the mouse here a little bit, only because I can't reach over to my computer. It's a little far away from me. So if you see me using the mouse, that's what I'm doing. I'm just working the computer. Anyway, so I want to show you, so this is my original triangularity quilt that I created a few years back, and that's done in my Feline Fine fabric collection that I designed for Island Batik. Now you can see how the entire thing is made up of triangles, including the black large triangles. Just by simply changing color, I was able to create these larger triangles and create a design within a design, which I just enjoyed doing. Now the quilt behind me that you see, hang on, so the quilt behind me you see is also my triangularity, but it is in my Mandala Magic fabric that I also designed for Island Batik. So let me show you the full shot of that as well. So this is the full quilt behind me. So basically it was the same as the Feline Fine quilt, but just done in a different fabric line. Now, wouldn't it be fun if you created this pattern in pastels, and you did pastels? You could do pastels for the dark triangles and darker fabrics for the backgrounds. You can really kind of go crazy. You know me though, I like to use brights, so I'm going to tend to use brights. You could swap out those black triangles for white or beige or something that goes in that colorway as well, and you get a whole different look. So there are options for this, and we're going to talk about how to get there, but first, in order to get there, you've got to create the triangles. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to show you how to create the triangles from here. So let me put you on the overhead camera so that you can all see what I'm doing here. So now, a lot of you probably have rulers like such. You probably have the 60-degree triangle rulers, and there's so many out there that you can utilize, but I tend to work with, my favorite tends to be a Creative Grids. Now this is a very large one. This one goes up to 12 inches. You don't, for this particular quilt, you don't need this large of one. You could go with a smaller one like this, or even this. So I just happen to have all the gadgets. If you're a quilter like me and you have to have all the gadgets, well, then you might have a variety of sizes of triangle rulers. Now, there are advantages to some of the rulers and disadvantages to others, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. One of the things that I like about the Creative Grids rulers is, if you can see, this one has a straight edge at the top, and that cuts off your dog ear. Now, it does not have that on the bottom sides of it, which I end up using this, and I'm going to show you. That's going to be one of my tips and tricks that I'm going to show you what I use that for. But this is my go-to ruler. Now, the Marty Michelle 60-degree triangle ruler does happen to have it on all sides. So I'm not sure if you can see that. So see the squared off edge on all sides. So if that's your go-to ruler, then you've got all the edges squared off on that. And that's the Marty Michelle ruler. This one is a Fons and Porter ruler. It has it off on one side, but not on the others. And there are other 60-degree triangle rulers as well that don't have any of them lopped off. So you have, the complete angle on all three sides, which those are the ones that I prefer not to use. If you have one on a side, then you're good to go, and I'll show you why. So we're going to start off. We need to create triangles, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to just put these off to the side, and I'm going to use my Creative Grids ruler here. So in my pattern, in the triangularity pattern, you have to cut strips. I'm not going to give you the sizes of the strips because they're in the pattern for you to use. But when you start off, I'm going to start off on this side because it's a straight edge, and I already started on that side. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut the strips the size that the pattern calls for. You can, if you are confident, you can stack the strips up if you so desire. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just one. I tend to stack only because I like to, keep it efficient and get as many as I can all at one time. But depending on what the pattern actually will call for, whether it's this pattern or a different pattern, you may need so many of one color, so many of another, and you might not want to stack. So, given that in mind, you're going to choose the option that you want to choose. So the first thing you're going to do when you're cutting out your pattern or your triangle is you're going to have this straight edge. So you need to basically work with that. And of course, unless you're doing a 30-degree triangle on the end, you're not really going to use that. So we're going to be cutting that off. And what I need to do here is I need to align my line that I'm going to use for my strip on the bottom part of that strip. Then I'm going to hold my ruler down. I'm going to cut across the right side, cut across the top. So I'm lopping that little square off that you see at the top. And then I'm going to come back down this way. Now, if you have one of those little spinny mats, this is a good time to use it. So that's one. Then basically what you're going to do is you're going to flip that ruler around. You're going to do the same thing, but this time you only have to cut one side. You're going to align the measurement line that you're using for whatever size strip, and then you're going to align the left edge along that angled side that you just cut, and you're going to go ahead and cut down that right side and then cut across the top there. Okay, so now you've cut, oops, I didn't nip it all the way through. I have one little thread left. Okay, so then you keep doing that along the strip until you can get no more. And then you continue on with all your other strips. So I have all those other strips. Now, here's a little trick, and I like having my little dog ears lopped off because that's going to help me piece more accurate. But I don't just want one dog ear. I want all 3 dog ears. Okay. Now, there's a couple ways you can do that. You can take your triangle ruler and you can simply just turn the triangle around and align both sides, and then go ahead and chop that off. Turn it again and align both sides and that bottom edge again with the edge of the triangle and lop the top off. And now, if you can see there, I've created 1, 2, 3 sides that all are squared off. All those dog ears are off. That is going to make joining these together really easy. Now, if you don't have a ruler that has the edge lopped off, I have these, and these are actually available on my website. I love this tool. This is Marty Michelle's Deluxe Corner Trimmer hand piecing aid. So I love, love, love this. And it doesn't just include the 60-degree angle, but it has 90-degree angle on it, the 53.5, 45, 135, and 120 angles on it. So you can use this for multiple applications, and you can see on the cover here where she's doing some English paper piecing. She's doing a diamond, but it also shows dog ears, no dog ears, and how it looks with the dog ears and how it looks without. So I'm going to show you how you use this tool. These are available on my website. The link will be in the description. So again, we have the one squared off, and I'm going to find the 60-degree. If you can, let me put this up here so you can see the 60-degree angle. That's where that little piece is lopped off. I'm going to lay it down just like I did my triangle ruler. I'm going to lay it down, aligning the edges, and then I'm going to lop off that top. If I can cut through the whole thing. There we go. And then turn it around. This is much easier to handle than your ruler. I carry this actually in my sewing tool kit with me wherever I go, because you never know when you're going to need it. But again, now I have the same outcome, but just using a smaller tool, which I love. And then you have all those other angles as well. Now that you've done that, let me show you how much easier it will be to piece these together. So let me show you with a contrasting fabric here. So when you go to piece these together, what you want to do, whether you're using a batik or a print, you're always going to face them right sides together. Basically, what you're going to do is you are going to match up where you've lopped off those dog ears. It makes it super, super simple. So I'm matching up right where that square is lopped off on all sides. I'm matching it up so you can see. Oops, just got to align it a little better here. And you can see where I'm lining it all up. Then you're going to take it to your sewing machine, and this is a 1/4 inch here. You're going to start sewing right at that point there and take it down all the way through, and it'll come through down at that point. So that's an exact 1/4 inch. I'm going to show you here because I did one already for you. Let's see. So here you can probably see the stitches better on this side, but you can see where my stitch starts in that corner and then comes down all the way through to that corner, okay, which is super easy. So let's see, let me zoom in just a little bit for you. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see while I'm down here, okay? Now, what I like to do is, I don't know why, I don't know if it's doing that for you, but it seems like to be going in and out of focus. So I'm going to go like this. Okay, so what you're going to do, what I want to do is I want to press these, and you're going to ask, to what side do I press them? I don't press them in particular to any side. I like to press them open, okay? I feel it gives you a much better result, and it lays very, very flat. The other cool thing is, let me show you. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to finger press this. So by pressing it open, it gives you the ability to add that next piece on very easily. Because, so the next piece, so if I want to add my next piece here, if I want to add a red here, I'm going to be able to match that cut off point with, look at how that matches up, because it gives you a nice, once you press that, it gives it a nice level little spot to match it up to. And then the bottom matches, you're matching the side and then the bottom. And then again, you're going to go straight through on a 1/4 inch. So you will be adding them to make a row, and you will press open as you go along. The nice thing about this is that it leaves you with an exact 1/4 inch here. So so when you're ready to sew your seams together, let me get zoomed in here. I got to find where my, oops, where's my cursor? When you're ready to zoom in, or when you're ready to sew, when you're ready to sew, you've got exact 1/4 inch here, here, so you will end up with a perfect point. Your machine, so I don't know if you can see right there, see how that's an exact 1/4 inch? That's an exact 1/4 inch. So your machine, when you sew, you'll be able to see where that 1/4 inch is. See where that, the orange piece is there and the blue, that's 1/4 inch. So if you're sewing from that back side, you aim your needle down right in there so it's heading for that 1/4 inch. So you'll end up with perfect points. So that, I think, is a really great advantage to having those dog ears lopped off, because if they're not lopped off, you're dealing with points and you're trying to put points together. And if you're not going in at an accurate 1/4 inch, which by having the points taken off, you know that your 1/4 inch begins at that point. That 1/4 inch, your needle should start, your needle should go in right at that edge. But if you have a point there and you're not measuring correctly at a 1/4 inch, you may go in a little bigger than a 1/4 inch or a little less. So I hope that makes sense. That is a distinct advantage to having those corners lopped off. That is why I like this technique. Opening up those seams is, I think, probably the second best thing that you can do, because it gives you a clear view of where your 1/4 inch is. So when you're joining the rows together, whether you're joining them in columns or you're joining them across, depending on the pattern, you know that you're going to end up with nice points in here when they're joined together. And that's important, because I know that a lot of us, we don't like to lose our points. And if you're not taking off those dog ears ahead of time, you run the chance that you might lose points in here somewhere, and then they don't start looking like triangle. They stop looking like triangles, and they start looking wonky. So consider chopping those points off to give you a better idea of where your 1/4 inch starts and then where your 1/4 inch ends once you sew. And it also leaves you with an accurate 1/4 inch so that you don't lose those points. And to achieve that, let's go over that once again. To achieve that, you can use the Marty Michelle's Deluxe Corner Hand Trimmer Piecing Aid, which are available on my website. Or if you have rulers like mine, like I have a few of them, like I said, they have the tops already cut off. So let me show you that again real quick in the overhead view. So the tops are already cut off. You can use that as well. So those are some of those tips and techniques for my pattern here. Let me get back on the screen. So for this pattern, the triangularity pattern, so I gotta position myself, the triangularity pattern, that's the technique that I would use for this, and I would use it for any stack and whack pattern as well. So I'm going to see if there's any questions, and let's see if I can read from this distance. I might need magnifying glass, but if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Let's see. So, hey, Julie, you're from Tucson. Hey, you're right in my neck of the woods, 2 hours away, but it's started off as a cool morning here. I'm sure it did in Tucson too. Hey, Betsy, how are you? Carol failed high school geometry. I will tell you that geometry was probably, out of all the types of mathematical, statistical classes, that was probably my favorite. Algebra, calculus, not so much. I just don't think like that, and that's why I have people that help me check my math when I'm writing patterns. So we always get it, but it's a different kind of math too for me when I'm writing patterns. So there's that. Let's see. Can it be made longer? Julia, tell me what you're asking as far as can what be made longer? I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. I'm wondering if you're talking about the strip or that I don't know. So if you can type it in there, there's a little bit of a lag, about 20-second lag until I see your comments. So hold tight, type it in there if you're still with me. But if you have ever made triangles before and you've ever tried to put them together and you've never cut off the dog ears, you know what I'm talking about when you lose your points, when you're trying to join them together and then join them in rows. So Julia, the quilt size, can it be made longer? Oh, absolutely. You can make, so this quilt measures 87 by 87, triangularity measures 87 by 87. You can make it longer, absolutely. You could just add more rows of triangles. The background triangles you can do, well, let me take this down, hang on a second. You can add more background triangles at the bottom. You can add extra borders if you want. This quilt does have borders on it. Let me put the big pictures of the quilts back up. Hang on a sec. So do you see it does have small borders on the outside? So you can put 2 borders on, 3 borders on. You can totally make a twin size. You can do smaller strips, smaller triangles, absolutely. Yes, so Julie's asking if the pattern is available for download. So here is something about all my patterns. You can order a hard copy of the pattern, and every single pattern of mine is available as a PDF download as an option. So you can get any of my patterns as a PDF download as well. So sure, you could start working on it right away. Absolutely. Otherwise, they are available as hard copies too. So are there any other questions? Let's see. Oh, and you know what you could also do? You can also do, so if you even wanted to make these triangles bigger, you can adapt the pattern to make the triangles bigger. It's all going to matter what strip size you cut, and then from that strip size, what size triangles you're going to cut. So you can just increase the size by increasing the size of the triangle as well. The layout is going to stay the same. So you're going to use the layout in the pattern. And in the pattern, by the way, in the download or in the hard copy, you do get a template, triangle template, in case you don't have a ruler, and you can make a template out of template plastic. But honestly, I do that in all my patterns just in case people don't want to buy extra rulers. So there, I always provide a template. But honestly, using a ruler, a triangle, 60-degree triangle ruler is really the quickest and most efficient way to do it. And it's really easy. Back to the layout. There is a layout in all my patterns, so it will show you exactly how to lay this out so you get that effect. But I would love to see if anybody does the pattern, and if they do change out like the big triangles, the black triangles, into like a white triangle. That would be cool. And even you can even do these scrappy, so these big triangles that are made in black, like this particular triangle right here is all one fabric, and this one's all one fabric. So what I would do if the background is scrappy, I would still stay with like one fabric in the big black triangle. So even if you went white, stick with one fabric in here, because if you start to make this scrappy and then this one is scrappy and you're using some of the same fabrics, you may end up losing like this part of this triangle in that one, because it's going to be having some of the same fabrics. So keep that in mind. I would make these distinct fabrics, but keep the background all scrappy fabrics. I hope that makes sense. So I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please consider the video that I have. I'm going to link over here. Considering watching one of my other tutorials, I'm going to link one of my favorites over here, and over here I'm going to link my subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. That helps me get all my videos out to other people as well. And if you have a comment, please comment, and I will answer your comments, and share the video. I love that. And I hope that you really enjoy this, and I will be coming back to you probably in a few weeks, because I will be heading out. We've got Thanksgiving coming up, and I will be heading out on a cruise teaching one of my patterns with Stitch in Heaven. I will be heading out right after Thanksgiving on an 11-day teaching cruise. So if you're ever interested in going on a cruise with me or a quilting retreat, I teach for Stitch in Heaven. I've got a quilting retreat coming up next summer. I would love to see you there. If not, remember, subscribe here and check out the link that I'm going to have over here, and every other link that you need is going to be in the description as far as pattern and notions. And thank you for joining me. I hope you guys have a happy, wonderful rest of your week. Happy quilting, everybody. Take care.